Okay, this is attempt number 2. In fact, I recorded an entire video and then my computer decided no, it wasn't going to have it. It was going to crash. It was going to wreck the recording. So I'm going to try to record another video here for Cardano ADA, and I may forget to add things that I've already spoken about. I think it's included in this video, but it may not be. So hopefully this is going to make sense. Hopefully I'm going to include everything that I think you guys need to know. Let me know in the comments below if anything is unclear, and let's just get right down into this video for the second time. So ADA paired up with USDT using the 𝗕𝗬𝗀𝗧𝗏 spot exchange, the 1 hour time frame. And yeah, kind of following on from the previous video, right, we were talking about a short position. This is a short position that I actually took down in the Discord. If you're a trader member at membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪crypto.io and you have a 𝗕𝗬𝗀 account, you'll know about the Trader Elite tier that we have in our Discord server, where we basically just show you all the things that we're doing. And I actually took this short trade. Now, I actually exited this short trade a little bit early on Cardano ADA, and I'll show you why I was exiting out in a second. So we can see down here that we were finding support on this 200 EMA, and this was going to be the obvious area for a bounce because it looked like we were going in a kind of 3-wave pattern right into here, right? And we were looking for this move to the downside. Now, on reflection to this, it actually looks more likely to be the fact that this is an entire wave 3 and this is our wave 4. So I exited out a little bit earlier than expected. I should have exited out down here, but instead we exited out a tad too soon, which is fine. I like to basically grab 20% profits and kind of re-enter multiple times if possible. And that way I'm kind of, you could of course move your stop loss, you could increase your leverage, you could do lots of different things. My personal strategy is to basically close my trade and find another entry point and enter back into it, right? And that's kind of how I tend to like to do it. So I exited out down here, we saw a small bounce, but then it came down deeper and then we bounced up. Now this move at the downside, let me actually go ahead and just move the short over to where I was over here. Okay, we can see that we have a potential move up a little bit higher. It doesn't look like we are necessarily done, although it is possible that our rejections here are true, and we're just going to move down. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things that could unfold. So we can see right in here, the expectation is that we move up towards 28.9 to 29.0. Let me go ahead and just remove that out of there, right? And we can see this as a 3-wave pattern right inside here, an ABC structure like this. Okay, that's the expectation. However, there's a few things to kind of consider. This fourth wave cannot go up higher than our wave 1 low point, that being 29.1597. Okay, and if we were to come down lower than our low wave down here, or the 3rd wave low point at 28.5203, then in fact we already completed and we can just think about that move to the downside, right? So let's go ahead and map this in. What does this look like? Well, it's a big wave 1, 2, 3. This is potentially 4, which could or could not be yet complete. We're yet to see how that plays out. Okay, so I'm going to put this up here as a wave 4 high, and then we come down into our 5th wave movements. Now, the wave 4 typically would go to a 38.2% retracement. Okay, and you can see that's kind of exactly what's already happened. So it's possible that we've already completed our wave 4 and there is no further move to the upside. So for the premise of this video, that's what I'm going to run on. I'm going to run on the idea that we've already completed wave 4 and we're going down into the 5th wave. So i.e. it potentially could short the market here by entering, let's say, on market, putting our stop loss above the wave 4 high point, and then putting our TP a little bit deeper. Our TP, of course, being take profit, which will occur on the 1.236 to 1.618, which would put us right into this little range here. Go ahead and just pull this in, and I would always go for the top end because it's kind of safest place to be, and it doesn't give me a risk reward ratio that I'm happy with, so I would not enter this trade. At 0.87, it's just too risky. It's not worth it. In fact, even on the lower side, it doesn't even reach my minimum criteria of a 1.5, so it's not a short opportunity for me. Okay, but there comes an opportunity, because just because we can't short the market doesn't mean we cannot think about what happens after. And what happens after is a long position. Okay, so if we complete a 5-wave move down here and we complete this low point, we've got to then go long on the market, and there is going to be a long opportunity. So for example, we enter on that higher side, we go for about a 50% move. I'll sort that out in a second, and we'll put our stop loss below this swing low over here. Okay, so we have a nice broad stop loss, and then of course, you know, we'll target it out 50% of this entire move. So if we are on that higher side, you can see that we should be thinking about this range just here. Again, it's a little short on the 1.42 side, but I would probably take this one on the premise that a B wave, which is what it would be, is unpredictable and it may go up higher than the 0.5. Until we see the internal structure, it's hard to say, but we can always exit out a little bit earlier or just take it on the chin if we needed to. So I think there's a long opportunity coming for Cardano. We just need to kind of see how this 5th wave plays out first. Okay, cool. So what does this mean? Well, it means that essentially we are potentially in our next move to the downside. A 5-wave structure is going to be the beginning of this. We always see that if you start with 5 waves, you end in 5 waves. So it's very important that we acknowledge that. And this builds us up into a big short position here, heading down more towards the 18 to 20 cent level, right? So some fantastic opportunities here, and we will be looking for this big wave 3 positioning to kind of come on down. So we'll look for a move up, and then we'll look for a bigger move to the downside. So this 5-wave structure here could be the start of a wave 1. So we could be a wave 1 up for a wave 2, big wave 3 coming down after, then 4 and 5, right? All of which only really gets us into a wave 1 position of something much bigger later on as well. Okay, so you can start to see a potential structure playing out here as well. Okay, so again, talking, you know, further down the line, but for now, I think we want to be focusing in on trying to grab as much of the profit as we can from the market here. So it looks like a small move down. We grab, probably won't short that, it's not worth the risk, but go long, we take that out. Now going long here, we have to be really cautious because we're going against the trend. The trend here would be to the downside, and therefore will be counter the trend if we were to go long, but we can do it. And then of course, I think we'll be looking at then shorting the market again in a really big way. Now, obviously bear in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot give you financial advice. All I can do is give you my thoughts and opinions on the data in the charts as I personally see it, and tell you how I would personally approach the market. It's important that you do your own research, and if you have access to a financial advisor, you consult your financial advisor and all sorts of things like that. Now, that's just from a trading point of view on the smaller time frames. Maybe you're not a trader. Maybe you just want to be buying and hodling. Well, in which case, you know, we've got the low range targets here as well, between 18 and 20 cent. That hasn't changed. This is a part of a big structured move to the downside. This one looks like it could be the bottom, but at the moment, I'm not going to be as confident to say that that's a guarantee or anything like that, because there's still some potential structures that play out that could basically mean that we go down even deeper than 18 cent. But for now, this is the most probable area that we can kind of see in the price chart. Not only are we up in the overbought range looking for a massive move to the downside, we can see that we're below the 50 EMA and below the 200 EMA. The short-term 50 EMA is already below the 200 longer-term EMA. Essentially, it's not looking great. And so we have to kind of consider finishing off this 5th wave movement to the downside, where we'll find some cheaper prices on ADA. But ultimately, I think there's some fantastic profits to be made from trading, and I think there's some fantastic profits to be made from a long-term DCA model as well. So if you're just looking at DCAing, taking the stress out of it, then I do think there's going to be some fantastic opportunities for you down in the price chart as well. Guys, I think I'm going to leave this video right there for the second time. If you found it useful and informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is an information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.